This is a house on Broadway where you children grew up. Dick and Tom look about 2 and 3, I guess, and Susan was little, about 1948 probably. I'm recording this on May 4th, 1992, almost 50 years after Dad and I received the movie camera for a wedding present. This is Tom outside of the house where we lived on St. Mary Street. Oh no, this was at a picnic at Cappy and Fran's in Williamsville. That's Karen Kruschke right there. And the other woman is Connie Barclift, who probably none of you even remember. That's Connie. And that's her daughter, whose name I don't recall. There's Annette Kruschke, and with Annette is Bet Craig, whom I don't think any of you remember either. These were all Girl Scouts with me and this was what was left over from the Girl Scout group. There are Dick, who's probably about 3, and Tom watching. Oh, there Tom's going. This is still at the same place at that picnic. I don't know who that child is. That looks sort of like Karen Kruschke. No, there's Karen. That one I don't even remember. That's disgusting, isn't it? There's Cappy and Spike, their Irish setter dog, who they named after Dad. There's Pat Mayer. Most of you remember Pat Mayer. Gee, we were young then. And there's a good picture of Spike. He was a beautiful, beautiful dog. Great big thing. That's Rod Mayer, who is dead now. And there's Susan on the right. I think this is Tom Sear. And I can't recall where this all took place. I'm the person rowing. Pat Mayer is in the bow of the boat. And oh, that's Annette with a bathing cap on. It's really interesting because I honestly don't remember where we were at that time or what the occasion was. There are Dad and Dick and Tom and Susan on a lumber pile behind our house. They really had lots of lumber piles to play on. And Dick was pretending that he's smoking, just like Dad. He thought his dad was wonderful. Susan's red hair and curly hair, and the blonde Tom and the brunette Dick. We certainly didn't do very well with movie photography because most everybody's sitting still for so many of these pictures. Now this is before our house is finished, I believe, because they're sitting on a plank that went up to what was the back door of the house before the breezeway was put on. Oh, Daddy has to light the pipe for Dick. He had a Zippo lighter, and he had that for years and years and years, even sent it back for repairs. There I am, and at that time I was wearing my hair in braids up over my head. This is at the Buffalo Zoo. Tom was in the blue sunsuit, and here comes Dick. I don't recall just who we were with. Later in this, you'll see Elaine. And there's some good ones of Tom in here too. Oh, I think that's a Native American sitting there shaking hands with the children who go by. There's Tom. He couldn't have been very old there. Probably it's the summer before he was 2. I must have taken these because it seems to me that maybe Elaine and some of their relatives, there's Elaine, were there, and we all went to the zoo. The bears stay pretty much the same. Although I'm sure those bears don't look that way anymore. I'm dubbing this with a VCR that Cindy Lewis lent me that has a microphone connected that we could plug into it. And it really is kind of nice to be able to just sit here in my living room and do this. Oh, this is neat. I just love this picture of Tom. Watch him. That's just the way he was then. And there's Mr. Active Dick, but he's sitting still right this minute. Tough to keep both of them in the picture. They thought those chains were wonderful. Now this is when Susan was a little baby. And she had so much hair. She probably is about 2, 3, 4 months old there. And we tied a ribbon in her hair. This is at the house on St. Mary Street. It's a lovely picture of me, half cut off, half on. And there are the 3 little children. Dick was 2, Tom was 1, and Susan was less than 1. Daddy had only been home from the Navy for a little while at this point. He was discharged when Susan was born, because with 3 children they discharged people. Nice smile on Dick right there. There, now Tom's going to grin. There's a good laugh on Tom. Boring though, isn't it, to just sit here and watch the same thing for a long time with no action. We always line them up and take all 3 at once. This is in the front yard on St. Mary Street. Oh, I'm saying car, car. This is Susan's birthday, 2 or 3 years old. It was 2 years old because I noticed when I looked at this before there were 2 candles on her cake. I don't remember that carpet. I remember it from somewhere, but I don't remember where we had that. Oh, that's the doll that Grandma Creed made for Susan. One end the doll was awake, and then you put the dress over her head and she was sleeping in the other end. Tom's going to help open something, I guess. This thing going a little bit more. Susan is not very much in a hurry to get the things unwrapped. Oh, she's putting the paper in the fireplace. I remember we had that funny screen. We're not showing what was in the packages. I don't know what that might have been. Now she's blowing out her candles. You can see there are just two there. Oh, so that rug must have been one we had in the living room in the house in the country before the house was finished. At least it covered up the middle of the floor so that that terrible flooring doesn't show. I remember you children used to poke crayons down through the holes in the floor. This is outside what was then our back door before anything was done around the outside of the house. You can see the gray shingles on the house. So this would probably be the spring of 1949. No, 48, I guess. It would have had to be if Susan was 2. There's Lady. Remember Lady? She was such a loyal dog. I would get terribly disgusted with her. Charles gave her to us when you children when we first moved out there. And that would have been in the fall of 1947. And she was the companion to you children all the time. She went everywhere with you. I don't know what they're playing with. An old cook kit, it looks like, doesn't it? That was quite a place for you children to play. I know there were lots of mud holes and all of that, but there were such interesting things for you to do. And you were very creative. There's Susie the dog. Susie the dog is the one who was lost. We couldn't find her. And finally, Lady was barking, and she was in the bottom of a dry well way down toward the creek. And we think that Lady may have been taking her packages of garbage to keep her alive because she was missing for about 2 weeks. There's our 33 Ford that Daddy's fixing, and there's Grandpa's Fordson tractor that they're trying to make run. That was, auto mechanics were a big project out there, from one thing to another. Daddy was really good with you children because he didn't mind having you underfoot, sort of. That's nice of Grandpa. It'd be nice if it were a little clearer. There you can see Warner's house in the background over there. I think that's Warner's. Yeah, with the barns. Oh, they're trying to crank the tractor. My goodness, it didn't even have an automatic starter on it. How do you like that? There's the back of our house. and the lumber pile. Oh, there are the swings. Those were wonderful swings. Daddy made those. In fact, one time he used the swing frame to take an engine out of a car to put the pulley up over the top of it. I even liked swinging on those because they were real ropes, and the wooden framework and everything, he had it buried in cement. And there's a pasture next door. You can see the fence posts. Again, Warner's in the background across the street. Did you see the old car going by? That was before T-shirts, and Daddy was wearing, I think, navy underwear, long underwear. Oh, now there are you children in the creek, and the bathing beauty in the foreground. Oh, that creek was just wonderful then. Doesn't look anything like it anymore, does it? We've all grown up. I think this was a Memorial Day weekend, because I remember there being a lovely warm one, and the creek water was nice and warm, and so we all went down there and had a picnic. That was another nice thing about that place, much as I hated living in the country, to have the creek just at the edge of our own property, and the woods where you children played as you grew older. And it was always a good place to cool off and have a picnic, because it was all gravel on the banks at that time. Oops, must be stony. The old lady is having a hard time walking. Susan must have had enough. Oh, Dick's putting his face in a little bit too. Pretending they're swimming. The underpants don't make very good swimming trunks. Oh, there's Tom, there's Susan, and there's Dick, and now you're much older. This is a lot older, and you're sitting in a car, and there's Daddy. We're walking on a wooden walk. Oh, this is when our house was just being started. Must have been in the winter. Now, who is that? That's Louise Davis, who was my French teacher when I was a freshman in high school. This is something at some old cemetery, but I don't know where that is. We went to visit, I think this is on a visit to Phil and Van Putnam. I don't recall what this is. Dick looks about 4 there. There's Susan. Yeah, this is at Phil and Van's. There's Frank Putnam. This is when they lived in East Springfield. There's Frank. And Dick in the background. That wasn't Louise Davis, that was Van Putnam that I saw in the picture before. There's Tom. Oh, that was a pretty dress that Susan had. It was a red plaid one that Grandma made her. At least we're getting some action in this one. Oh, how embarrassing to have your picture taken. This must be up in the Catskills. Well, it's not worth much anyway. There's Grandma Bulger. We're having a picnic at the creek. I'm wearing glasses back then. And there's Grandpa Creed. And that must be the back of Grandma Creed. Oh, there she is. Oh my goodness, she doesn't want to have her picture taken, I guess. There's Charles, too. Oh, and look at the kitten. Oh my goodness, that must be, are those Kitty's kittens? I don't know where that cat came from. Tom has one, or is that the same one? I don't know. Those poor kittens. I don't know what this is. Oh, it's a pony ride somewhere. Oh, there's Charles. And there's Grandpa's Buick in the background. I don't know where we were then. Oh, at Howard Hills. That's where we were. We were over at Howard Hills. They were good friends of Grandpa and Grandma Creed, and they lived in Eden. And we went there one time when you children were little, sitting in a sleigh. And there's Daddy with you children. That must be that's the 41 Ford. That's the one that got smashed. I think. And that looks about right because you children were 4, 5, and 6 when Daddy had that accident. And Susan with her pigtails and ribbons on her. And Tom. No, they're younger. 3, 4, and 5, I guess. I don't know what happened there. There's Daddy on a swing somewhere. It's really going high. There I am. Susan. There are the boys. This could be just a picnic at Coma Park, because we would once in a while go over there and play on the swings. That's what it looks like. And there is the sandbox. the sandbox that Daddy built, and Bill, this is like the one that you made for Tim, with the seats on the side of it. Now, who is coming? I think that may be, it's Grandpa and Grandma Creed, I think, and Grandma Bolger. Oh, and there are Dick and Tom with their fancy suits, and Grandma Creed is all dressed up in a suit, and Susan is all dressed up. I can't figure out which car of Grandpa and Grandma Creed's that is. There is the Model A truck. Oh, you children love that, and everybody but Mary learned to drive on that. Even Bill learned to drive on that. And Daddy used that to haul gravel from the creek to fill in the front part of our house. I used to get so angry about that dumb truck because keeping that going, it always seemed to take money that I would rather have spent a different way. That was a hand-manufactured bed on the truck. I don't know if that camera took things slow motion or not, because I don't remember Daddy moving that slowly. Maybe he exaggerated his movements because we were going to there. That seems more normal. Oh, Susan's hair was so beautiful and red, and Dick's was so black. This looks almost like that grassy area at Stony Brook. I bet it was. We used to go to Stony Brook State Park down near Dansville sometimes on a Sunday afternoon and have a picnic. This may have been there. Let's see, Susan looks 4 or 5, and Dick probably is about 6. Here comes Daddy. Oh, ice cream cones. We all liked ice cream. Most of us, I guess, still do. My Dick had long legs. Yeah, there's the water. I think this was Stony Brook. We had wonderful pools down there. Yes, that's where it is. And they dammed the stream in the gorge in 2 different places. This is the upper one. And so the water was deep up above the dam, and then it was shallower for your children to play in the lower part. And then we could really swim in the top part. They had a diving board there that I used to like. Susan's wearing a bathing cap even. There I am. Beautiful dive. Let's see what we can do with the old back dive. Ugh. Knees bent. I must have even worn a dress to go on a picnic back then. Who really knows what that is? Must have been the picnic table. Everybody's cleaning up, I guess. And there's Lady, she went along with us most every place we went. Well, they're washing dishes, I guess, now. Eddie's going to look at the paper. Oh, this was at a camping thing when we borrowed Boy Scout camp tents, I think. Possibly. Oh. No, I don't think so. Your children were bigger than that when we went camping. Because we had Bill when we started doing that, I think. Water guns. Oh, and there are the kittens that calico cat had, I think. Yeah, there's one for Tom and one for Dick and one for Susan. Oh, I see. There's Bill swimming and Susan helping him. Daddy helping him. Bill was a swimmer right from the very beginning. Look at him. He would jump off the dock. This is at DePrill's. We always called it Mary's. There was a nice sand beach there. It was had been a sand pit where they took sand back in the olden days to, I don't know who that is. I don't think that's I. Maybe it is. Anyway, the sand pit was really a wonderful place to swim, and there was a swimming club over there. Oh, now they're washing the 52 Ford. That was, I think, the first brand new car that we ever had. The others had all been used cars. Everybody's working here. Except me, of course. Now the breezeway, I think, is built onto the back of the house at this time. Okay, this is camping, really camping with the tent. And I think that this is at Burnham Point up on the St. Lawrence River in the Thousand Islands area. And if I'm not mistaken, oh, the boys were in a pup tent apparently. I think that may have been the tent that I made, I'm not sure. And they were swimming in the St. Lawrence River. Oh, that was a wonderful place. And there was this big pier going out into the river. That was Tom. See, they were probably, let me see, if Bill was 4, Tom was, Susan would have been 10, 11, and 12, probably. Maybe 9, 10, 11. They don't look 10, 11, or 12 to me. I don't know if that's me or if it's, I think that's I. Maybe it's, no, it's I. It's not Susan. This is the place where Susan kept catching fish, and the boys would move where she stood, and she'd move someplace else and catch another fish. And they really had a tough time catching any that day, and she caught a couple. Must be the boys helping Bill across the log. Must still be around Burnham Point. The 3 older children were just always so thoughtful of the 2 younger ones. You used to try to get rid of them sometimes, but hair fixing first thing in the morning. I guess I'm braiding. Susan's hair is short there, I think. With her hair. Yep, that's the tent I made. We didn't have much money. We wanted a tent. So we had borrowed an umbrella tent, and that one we made. Well, I actually made it, but Daddy helped with inspiration, I guess. Dismantling the... This may have been the time that we went up to up near Whiteface. There's a Santa Claus land up there. This is at the Farmers Museum in Cooperstown. This is when we're going to find Nettie Bumppo's cave, I think, because we were at Phil and Van's again. Now this is more recent. There's Frank, and the children were older, and this is color film too. The other was just black and white. And they used to give the kids ox rides around the grounds. Here is Nettie Bumppo's cave. They're letting people, I think that's Warren. And there's Dick. And there's Mary. And Bill is unhappy. I don't know why. Yeah, that's Warren. And Phil's lifting him up to Daddy. And there's up in Nettie Bumppo's cave, there's Phil helping Van. She was just a real special, lovely lady. Well, Phil was a great man, is still a great man. He's a nice man. There's Tom. That was fun to go up in there. And then when Tom came in 1982 or 83, he and I found Nettie Bumppo's cave, and we climbed up there. We felt pretty good about having found it too, without having Phil there to help us. Phil was an ag teacher, and they lived down at East Springfield. Guess who that is? Near Cooperstown. And so he knew all of the farms and all of the stuff that was back in the farms and all of that. And there's Susan. Oh, maybe that was Susan instead of me. There's Tom coming down. There's Frank. Frank has already retired from the Navy, so you can see how long ago that was. He and Susan were almost exactly the same age. Oh, that's lovely of Dick. Oh, there's Dick and his mom. About as tall as his mom already. That looks like Stony Brook again. Oh, there's Susan with her horse. She pretended that Hammock was a horse. Susan and Bill are both on it. And she had reins and stirrups and everything on there, and she would play on that horse. Talk about creativity. They're having a wonderful time. Boy, she was nice to Bill. There's Daddy. I think we finally got into sweatshirts. Oh, we're cleaning a carburetor. Now that's a picnic. If I remember correctly, this is down near Almond, New York, where Daddy was in a CCC camp, but shortly after high school. It was just lovely to go down there in the fall. And I think that we were having pancakes for our meal, and Daddy always cooked them. Oh, the boys are shooting. They're pretending to, anyway. Two. Yep, he's flipping pancakes. It's not very good focusing there. Look how black my hair was. This looks like a Boy Scout thing of some kind. Is that when Daddy was explorer leader? I don't know. Must have been when Dick and Tom were in that troop with Ted Berrig. But I don't recall this occasion. Maybe I wasn't there. Dick and Tom probably will know what it is. That certainly didn't come through. That's all Boy Scouts. Dick and Tom were in a Boy Scout troop that was centered in Town Line. And they would march in the parade on Memorial Day. And there's Billy. And oh, there is Mary. We're up to 1957. That must be 58. It must be Mary's first birthday. Or maybe it's Christmas, because she's still pretty little. Oh yeah, she's not a year old yet. Look at the eyes. Oh, I bet maybe it was her first birthday, because everybody's eating cake, and we always had the grandpas and grandmas come for birthday parties. Miss Grandma McMillen isn't very good of her. There's a Christmas one. We used to have to stick the Christmas trees in the corners because they would be so awful. Oh, there's Sam. Lady must have died. And I know she got hit by a car on the road. That's a nice piece of wall. And there's Bill. Oh, they're coming down for Christmas morning. Susan, there's Tom and Dick. They're probably about 11, 12, and 13. Maybe they're 14 now. Because this would be Mary's first Christmas, probably. Susan with her black glasses. Oh, that was Bill. His hair didn't look the same. And there's Daddy. No, it's Dick. Putting a railroad track together. Oh, there goes the train around. That must have been the present that year. Dick and Susan. There's Tom. And back of Bill. Oh, and there's Mary, too. So this would have been Christmas 1957. There's Grandpa McMillen and Grandpa Creed and Grandma Creed. My, really dressed up. Grandma McMillen. Oh, that's nice of Grandma McMillen. And there I am. And there's Grandma Bulger, too. She must have been about 80 then. Oh, that looks like a house coat or something. There's Bill. There's Bill, squinting. Daddy had a set of lights, 4 lights on a bar that were really strong, and that was supposed to give us enough illumination so that we could take pictures inside. Oh, there's a neat tractor. Goes all by itself. Mary's not very impressed with that top. Well, she's catching on, I guess, a little. She wants it to go the opposite way from what it wants to go. Or Susan's feet, I guess. Now, where are we here? Bill's wearing a hat. Oh, I'll bet this is when we went to Valley Forge and Gettysburg and Philadelphia. Mary stayed with Grandpa and Grandma, and that's Valley Forge there. Daddy. That's a good picture of him. But the gray is starting to show now. But he had had the accident in 1950, so he's not quite as hale and hearty right now. Oh wait, he had already had the heart surgery too, because that all happened the year Mary was born. There's Billy, and Tom and Dick, Susan. I don't know why we took a picture of the American flag. Now this must be probably at Mary's, because there are a lot of people around apparently. Oh, there's Daddy. No, Dick. How did they do that? They rigged up a car seat or something on the swing. This is our swing out in back of the house. Now we're back at Mary Liberto's. And Bill could just do anything in the water. Just loved the water. See, Mary's probably a year old, so that would make Bill about 6.5. There's Grandpa McMillen. I don't know if this is the same occasion or what. This may be Silver Lake. These jump around so. That's Susan, I think. This is me. That's Susan. Yeah, this is Silver Lake. There comes Grandma McMillen down to sit beside Grandpa. This is right at the edge, and there's a dock behind Tom. And you have to walk across the railroad tracks to get from where Grandpa was sitting to get down to the lake. Or at least it used to be that way. There's Daddy. And there's Mary going out on the dock. Now here we are at Mary Liberto's again. This is at, boy, I didn't do a very good job slicing these, I don't think. Those things jump from one place to another, because that dock with the tower on it was from Mary Liberto's. And Mary's starting to jump in like Bill learned. I don't know who that is. Somebody. Bill. Probably Susan. Nope, that's Bill again. He was just like a fish in the water. He just loved it. I think that's Bill again, too. I don't know. Yep, I think so. He did a back dive off that and cut his head on the edge of one of those drums. And he was, there's Mary Liberto. Isn't that something? To get a picture of her. I wonder if she's still living. Dad looked pretty good, considering it was only a year after all of that heart problems. This is wasted. Now this is when Mary broke her leg. She was 2, I think. And Daddy gave her rides in the sleigh. Or in that disc thing. She was in a cast for 6 weeks, poor little thing. She was only 2 years old. She had the neatest snowsuit. It was a white snowsuit trimmed with dark blue. Really pretty. I think Daddy's just walking back and forth with her. She's all bundled up with a quilt and everything around her. There's that bear's paw quilt. That one must have just worn out. That was the one that my great-grandmother made. Because I don't think that's around at all anymore. This is kind of boring, isn't it? You must have just kept going back and forth and back and forth. Must have been the driveway that goes back to the creek. Oh, now there is Bill when he was a baby. And Dick is giving him his bottle. And there's Tom. Boy, these are out of order, completely. Trying to get him interested. He's sound asleep. We used to call Tom Bill's mother. He was just, would lug him around. And there's Susan with him, holding him. See, she was 5 when he was born, almost 6. And Dick and Tom were just turned 7 and 8. Oh, and there's the radio in the woodwork where she's sitting in a chair next to the fireplace. Oh, there I am holding him. And he had red hair when he was born too. Doesn't show in the picture. Now where are we? Oh, there is a bicycle. I don't remember when the children got their bikes. Probably for a birthday. Now that, I think, is Dick. So maybe 8th birthday? There's Susan getting off the school bus from kindergarten. There's Dick. And Tom and Carol Needs. And the people waiting to, that's when Broadway was only 2 lanes. See the old car there? There's Tom running. I don't know what he ran back for. Oh, his lunchbox. Tom and Carol Needs were good friends. And there's Bill in the bathtub, or in the kitchen sink. He was an 8.5-pounder when he was born. Oh, that's that kitchen sink that had the dish washer in the other side of it. It was pretty nice to have a dishwasher when I needed it. There you are. Yeah. There he is, probably about 6-8 months. Must be on the west side of the house because I think we had some iris there. Oh, and there are the kittens that Kitty had. All right, because she had one black and white and one puffy one, and we lost all but the orange one. The orange one was Dick's, and the black one was Susan's, I think, and the black and white one was Tom's. That's why he turned out to be such an animal lover. He started early. This must be at the park. because that's the only place they had real baby swings. Yep, another picnic at the park. Tom, let's see, he was seven, maybe Dick maybe 8. There's that smile. Oh, Daddy's unpacking the picnic basket, apparently. Ah, there comes Susan down the slide. There are her pigtails, too. Oh, we took Carol Needs along, too. Ah, there's Grandma Bolger with Billy. Oh, she loved him so. See, she would have been, we think, 74 about at that time. Oh, this is down at Stony Brook again. That's my father. And Susan with her pigtails. Daddy used to love to make you swish in the water. Oh, jump in and get Daddy. A little too much in the face. There's Dick. Oops, there's my mother stepping out of her half slip so she can go in the water and wade. Trying to think how old she would have been then when Bill was born. Maybe 57? Yeah, 57, 58. I don't know who that was. Grandma Bolger and Grandma Creeder. It must have been just some person who passed by or something and stopped to visit. There's Clarence and Tom. They were good friends. And there's Miss Susan. I don't know where this is. This isn't Stony Brook. Oh, must be Bill's first birthday. Certainly slow moving. Looks burned on the bottom, doesn't it? Maybe it's chocolate. I don't know where this is. Maybe over at DePrill's again. Yeah, that's where it is. There was one section where the children could play. And they weren't allowed to play except in that one spot. Oh, that's the swimming lessons. Dick and Tom and Susan took swimming lessons over there. They had an instructor and everything at that time. with his bathing cap on. And there's Grandma. Uh-oh, somebody's going to stay overnight, it looks like. There's Grandma Bolger. There's Bill and Grandpa mowing the lawn. Oh, and there are Rudy and Rudy's wife. They were chickens that and I don't know, that must be Rudy the second that Susan has. We had chickens and we had eggs and a couple of roosters. I don't know what's in the background. That's on the breezeway. We did have cement there. Apparently maybe the garage is even up now. Now we're in another park somewhere. There, again, I think we're at DePrill's, or Mary's, whatever you want to call it. And there goes somebody off the tower. Dick, maybe. Yep. That was a good swimming place. Now they're all going to swim into the dock. Comes Dad. I don't know who the other boy is. Dick and Tom and Daddy. I wonder if it was that Roy Grau that kept following Dick and Tom around. And they really didn't like him very much because he hung around so much. There's Susan, I think. Yep, she's not experienced yet, and Daddy's swimming with her. Is that Jane Creed, maybe? Yeah. Okay. Charles and Jane must have been there with us that day. Wasn't very grateful. Okay, that, I don't know who that is. Those children are. Bill and Susan. I don't know who those other kids are. Oh, I do too know who it is. Cynthia and David. There are, we are at Lib and Rex and Lib's up on 104, and I think I am the one in the plaid dress, and I think that that's Lib's daughter. Oh no, that's not me. I don't think. Can't tell. Oh yeah, that is. And that's Betsy Briggs. We were probably the ones that fitted the dresses. Or is that Lib? She had all those lovely things up in her attic. Maybe it was Lib in that old-fashioned dress. And there's Rex and Jean Hager. Somebody with old baby carriage. There's Charles. There's 104 out there. Maybe that was Lucille in that dress. There's Lucille. And Leb. And Bernadine even. Oh my goodness sake. And Jean Hager and Gary. And there's Grandpa. And there's Susan in an old-fashioned dress. I wonder if Lib is still living. She was living up near Saratoga Springs, up in Glens Falls, the last time I visited her. Gary, Cynthia, I don't know, David must have been there too, because I think we had Bill. There's Tom. Oh, he's wearing jeans even back then. And Dak. Don't look too excited about visiting relatives. Ooh. And there's Bill. Yeah, that's Liv's back steps. Now we're back at DePrill's again, with the tower and the float out there. These people are mostly strangers. There come Tom. Oh, this is way back when I made the matching plaid bathing suits for everybody. Dick and Tom and Dad and Bill, I guess, too, had plaid shorts, and Susan had a plaid bathing suit, and so did I. Oh, that's Heather Murphy, her brother. Oh my goodness, I don't know how I recalled her name. There's Billy with his drooping drawers. He's getting really fussy about where he jumps off. Oh, he's going to... There we go. He isn't afraid to put his face in, anyway. I don't know who that is. And Daddy's making it shake with Dick and Tom coming up on there. Oh, that's Tom going now. Oh, there he goes. Dad has to be able to do it too. That's not bad. It's good. He didn't go for swimming as much as I did. There's Grandma in the plaid dress. There's Mrs. Grau, Robbie's mother. Poor Robbie. Dick and Tom didn't like him at all. Most of these people I don't even recall. However, you can get an idea of how what eventually became called the beach looked. There were more trees there than in the later years that we were there. That looked like Susan, maybe. I'm not sure. No, yeah, maybe it is. It's hard to tell from here. There's Tom. I think that's Dick. There's Tom again. Boy, those kids could die, but at an early age. It's really good. There was a raft. You can see the raft across the pond there. There's Grandma Creed again. And Billy. That's not Susan. I don't know who that little girl is. And there's Grandpa with his hat. We had a picnic out there. They had nice picnic tables there. And of course they had to be kept absolutely spotless. And there's Sam. I don't know if that's Mary's third birthday. It must be her fourth birthday, because she's got pretty thick pigtails. Oh, and that little black dress, she and Susan and I all had black dresses that matched. Oh, there we had the spinet piano. That was kind of neat. And there's Grandma Creed. She's wearing a black dress too. Oh, that was pretty slipcovers when we painted the room light colored. Susan is not going to look at the camera, neither are Tom or Bill. Can't imagine what that is. Certainly is slow at opening it. Oh, it's something that you blow up. Maybe it's a big beach ball. I don't know what that was. Oh, there's a sweater. At least that's what it looks like. Yes, that's a sweater. That was pretty. Oh, yeah. Oh, Oh, that was like a sea lion to jump on. I bet it's over to Pearls, probably. I don't know what she's sitting at the piano for. Doesn't make much sense. Like a lot of these don't make much sense. What on earth is that? Some kind of a, looks like a chess game almost. Grandpa McMillen. It's too bad this isn't not wiggly. And there's Grandpa Creed. There I am, and Susan and Mary and Grandma McMillen. And who knows what, it looks as though it's winter from the clothes we're wearing. Can't figure out what that is. Oh, it looks like rockets or something. Well, there's a waste of film here. '61 and '62. Grandpa. Why, Mary's playing ball. She must only be about 5 or 6. 5. Boy, she's got a pretty good swing. Because she had her braids cut when she went to first grade. She still had them in kindergarten, I think. Those big boys were nice to a little sister. And here comes the hunter with gun. Susan with a gun. They must have been hunting down in the fields somewhere. Are they with BB guns or something? Must be doing target practice. This isn't very clear either. Oh, there's Susan ice skating. Oh, that was a pretty snowsuit she had. Pulling Mary on the sled, I believe. And I think that was Dick in his varsity jacket. I know who that is. This must be at, this is at the park, Como Lake. I think I have the red and white one. This must be I on the Pulling Mary. There's Dick, I believe. And that must be Bill. Oops! And there's Mary, trying to skate. Heaven only knows what's going on here. It's Bill, and it's out in the front yard. Daddy's planting grass. Oh, we have the landscaping in front of the house. We've got the bushes. Boy, they were nice and low at that time. They're awfully high now. There's Daddy's station wagon. Whoever panned this didn't do very well. There's Mary in front of the new bushes, and Daddy working at raking the lawn. And Bill. Look at that. Let's see that. Oh, these are those crazy things, those crazy button films. They don't really require any comment, so I'll just let them go.
house in a new town to settle into. Phyllis Price is having a hard time coping with both. Joan is sick enough to be in bed, well enough to need entertainment. She's read all her books a dozen times. She's bored with her toys, and being sick of bed is dull business indeed. As Mrs. Price goes about the job of unpacking, she wonders what she can do next to keep Joan contented. Like any wife with a problem, she knows where to turn. Is having problems of his own. Starting out in business for himself for the first time presents many problems he hadn't anticipated and for which he can't find ready answers. Mrs. Price hopes he can think of something to bring home for Joan, but his head is just too full of facts and figures for him to give any real attention to thinking up surprises. On his way home, he's still occupied with his own affairs, and it isn't until he comes to the town library that he suddenly remembers Joan. Not much like the big city library the Prices used so much before they moved here. But perhaps it'll have something Joan hasn't read. He'll just go in and inquire. To learn that this library has lots of children's books. In fact, a whole room full of them. The librarian suggests that he look at the current special collection, which is designed to acquaint parents with the newest and best in juvenile books. She seems to have plenty of time to spend helping him pick several that Joan will enjoy. He asks about books on business procedures for himself, thinking this is really too specialized a topic. But no, there's a section where there are a number that he may find helpful. One in particular looks promising. So Mr. Price is able, after all, to bring home something for Joan. Activities and projects here to keep her happily occupied for hours to come. And when she tires of that, there's a fascinating new storybook. The book Mr. Price chose for himself contains information he needs in establishing and operating his business, and the library has requested others that should be equally helpful from the Central Library. Mrs. Price is interested to find that this small-town library appears to be so active, and she decides that as soon as Joan can be out, they'll pay it a visit and let Joan attend the weekly story hour. It's convenient to have a library so close by. On a story hour day, Mrs. Price and Joan walk over in just a few minutes. Introduction to books in a way that makes a child eager to read is the basis for lifelong pleasure. What an inviting place the children's room is, with its gay colors, tempting array of books, and furniture scaled to a child's size. The children's librarian can guide a child along the path that leads to the wonderful world of books, and the story hour is often the first step along the way. In this library, young people, too, have a room all their own. Here they find information about hobbies, a variety of magazines, exciting fiction, and true stories about real people, all chosen especially for them. Here, too, are books and pamphlets to help in the choice of a college or a career. The reference room is named in honor of the friend of the library who endowed it. The endowment maintains an up-to-date collection which is widely used by local officials, study clubs, and students. The collection on the history of this section of the state is well known. Town officials often ask the library to locate and secure data pertinent to local problems. They appreciate the time saved them by this service. Material needed may be sent out from the Central Library, which has a large collection in the field of government. library's life is made up of books and people, and more books for more people is its goal. In this library, townspeople have at their command a well-rounded collection of books, selected for them by a trained staff, alert to their requirements. It is a source of pleasure, a source of knowledge, broadening the horizons of its readers far beyond the confines of the community. There is something here for everyone, whether he be reading for fun, or for facts, for enjoyment, or for profit. Special collections travel periodically among the various libraries in the county. They are accompanied by an attractive promotional poster or display, and often contain books that the small library could not afford to buy. Rotating collections like this make it possible for every library, regardless of size or budget, to circulate even the very expensive book, and the book for which there may be only limited demand. The staff is always ready to help by locating a book or by suggesting books they know a reader will enjoy. With his borrower's card, the reader can check out books not only at his local library, but at any other library in the entire county as well. This places at his disposal a much larger book stock than the local library could possibly provide. If he wants a book that is in some other library, he can get it in just a day or two through interlibrary loan. He need only ask for what he wants, since he is entitled to use any book in any library in the county. Mrs. Price is too deep in her enjoyment of her art book with its handsome color illustrations to wonder how it happens that such a book is here for her. If she should inquire, she would learn that this town library is strengthened and assisted by the library system of which it is a member. Readers like Phyllis Price and her family may never be aware of all the factors that combine to make their library what it is, but they are affected by the results in every contact they have with it. Here they find satisfying books, stimulating activities, and a staff interested in them and in their book needs. Access to books is made easy and convenient for them. A borrower's card can be had just for the filling out of an application, and it is a passport to pleasant hours. The library's interest in its readers goes even beyond making books available, extending to such thoughtful small items as a weekly list of selected readings on some timely topic. Families, bedtime means story time, and the Price family is no exception. For Joan, the library is an unfailing source of old favorites and new friends, an exciting mixture of make-believe and facts that will lead her to discover the many roles that books can play in our daily lives. To George Price, at this moment, the library means information. Information that otherwise might have come only through bitter experience. Later on, as a reader and a taxpayer, he will appreciate his library's excellent service all the more because it is an efficient and economical operation. To Phyllis Price, the library means relaxation and a refreshing change in pace from her busy days as a housewife. She welcomes the shared enjoyment of reading as a bond that draws her family closer together. The Prices and their friends and neighbors in their small town enjoy library service of the highest type. The activities of this library are made possible by the recognized need for the best in books, community support, and a strong statewide program to encourage the development of larger systems of library service. Communities everywhere can have libraries like this one. In many states, funds are available to those city and town libraries that will join hands to offer free service to everyone living in the cooperating area. In doing so, each library will be assisted to fulfill in larger measure its greatest obligation, that of providing books for all. Books borrowed from a library in this system can be returned at any other unit. A delivery service returns them to the library which owns them. The bookmobile offers to its users all the services and resources of the entire system, including recordings, films, still pictures, and interlibrary loans. Just like any other library, it has its own book stock, which is carefully selected to meet the needs of its patrons. Under this kind of library system, free library service is available to everyone in the county. All the efforts of the system are directed at providing better library service for each reader. The system helps member libraries plan and carry out such special programs as the Vacation Reading Club for children. Each summer, there is a different theme, one that will appeal to children and encourage them to read. One of the system's most important contributions is that it frees the local librarian from routine chores, giving her more time, more uninterrupted time. She has more time to devote to selecting the best books for her community. The librarian has more time to spend in introducing new readers to the library, and a regular series of visits from school classes can be given the attention it deserves. There is more time to sponsor special events,